So, excuse me. My goodness, that's some strong morning water I have today. So, welcome everybody. Today we are going to be talking about what you need to know for traveling for summer 2021 because over the years I have seen that there's a big spike in bookings, travel planning, views, all kinds of stuff for travel in the month of March. And so March starts on Monday. And so I want to give you all some information to help you better make your choices for what your trips are going to be this summer or this spring, because there's a lot of things changing in travel. I mean, we all know with the pandemic and all these things that you can't go everywhere. And I would not expect to be able to go anywhere you want this summer. But things are starting to open up. You're starting to see plans for places to open up for more travel, okay? And so just because you hear a place is going to open up for their people, it might not mean it's opening up for you, because it will be very dependent on from what region you're from, what country you're from, what the infection rates are, okay? So you need to have that kind of in your mind. And so we have dreams of going to Italy, but you have to realize is where our friends live in Italy right now, they can't even leave their town. Like, they can't leave their town at least until I think April. So you have to kind of put that into perspective when we're starting to think about what we're going to do this summer. So I want to say hi to all the people that are on here so far. Maureen, Mary Ellen, Troy, Ronnie, Michael. Hey, Michael Mine, good to see you. Mark Finley, always a pleasure. Baggy T. Oh, it's Mo's on there. Troy, Claire, Lady Dragonbane, Footy Surfer, Knowledge Juice, Schwan Creative Circle, good to see you. Tyler Fram, good to see everybody. Hey, Rob from Trip Hacks, good to see you. And so, one thing I just want to, we need to start talking about are these vaccine passports. And I know this is a very touchy topic for a lot of people. Hey, Footy Server, thank you very much. Hi, Walter. The UK is due to open up in July due to the effectiveness of the vaccine. Are you thinking of visiting if you can? P.S. Love the channel. We are. We have a wedding in Italy we're hoping to get to this summer. So that is going to be our main thing. And I'll talk about, picking destinations for this summer. And because we would love to go to the UK. We've had two UK trips canceled because of COVID. So we are looking forward to go back. Right now, the plan, I know we will be there. Well, hopefully is, around in the holiday season, we'll be in that area. I know that's one, but I might go earlier if things open up. Yeah, Eric, travel is extremely limited for U.S. citizens going outside the U.S. Within the U.S., you can pretty much go anywhere you want right now. That's why we've been going. We've done trips to the Southeast. We've done trips to the Mountain West. We've gone down to Texas, Arkansas, Mississippi, down there. So we've done a lot of U.S.-based stuff this year. Since probably last summer when we started traveling again. So there is that. But I want you all to realize is that the big thing people are discussing now, like if you look online, you put COVID passports or whatever, coronavirus passports or whatever, you'll see there's a lot of debate between countries about what do we do? How do we open up to make sure people are vaccinated and stuff like this? And so people get really kind of worried about vaccine passports. So to talk about it, some people are like, what is it? Well, vaccine passport is just proof that you've had your vaccine. And the thing is those of us that have traveled into places like certain parts of Brazil, certain parts of Africa, or other places around the world, you have to have this yellow booklet. Our yellow booklets are actually at the bank in the safe deposit box right now. And in it says all the vaccines you have and when you had them, and to make sure, because if you want to go to the Pantanal in Brazil, there is yellow fever there. So you have to have yellow proof that you had your yellow fever vaccine. Now, they don't always ask for it, but in case they do. For example, last year when we went to Tanzania, we were flying from Rwanda to Tanzania. And since Rwanda bordered a place that had Ebola, like there and all this other stuff, not Ebola, there was other stuff going on. This is actually 2 years ago, and they're like, well, we got to check just in case. So they were taking our temperature when we flew into Kenya. They took our temperature when we flew into Tanzania, temperature, and before we even got to go in the building, we had to show our yellow fever vaccines and the yellow cards and stuff, and before they even let us go into the airport. Okay, so this isn't something we haven't had. Basically, what you're seeing now is more of a standardized, digitized version of it. I could see eventually where the passports are things that go into the vaccine things we already have, those yellow booklets. So You also see there's a number of airlines that are trying to figure out is how do we get people traveling again so they feel comfortable, because the airlines are hurting. So they're figuring out, hey, if we can have some way so people feel comfortable flying, this could be it. And so there is the COVID, the vaccine passports. But also there could be, testing is also a big thing, because just because you have the vaccine, they might actually require you to test as well. So I think what's important when we go from the vaccine passports to getting your vaccine and stuff like that is moving into and for all of you that are asking questions, I will get to the questions in a little while. This is things I want to talk about first for those that are watching the replay, because this is what they're coming to watch, and we'll get into the questions later. So please ask your questions again, discussion again later. I will get to those. But in terms of, testing, what you have to realize is certain places will require you to get tested before you fly. It could be 72 hours. It could be 48 hours before you get there. And not every test is equal. Okay. So some people, if you want to go to Hawaii, they have a different certain test. They actually you have to put an app on your phone. And the app on your phone, you have to link it to an account. And then when you get your test results from one of their official acceptable test result places, then you upload that result to the app. And that lets you get in and lets you do things without having to quarantine for 2 weeks. But the thing is you might think, for example, where I work, I get tested twice a week. But those tests do not count towards certain places. So I can't use the one I do at work for this. And so some people I know have had issues with rapid tests, and that might not count. So you really have to make sure you're getting the exact right one. So look for the exact definition of which one they want and where is it from that you can get. Okay, for the not the vaccines, but the testing. All right. Big water, because we had a lot to talk about today. Now, another thing to think about, when you're looking at testing, is they're trying to get testing like at airports and when you get in. And the thing is, even if you have the vaccine, people might test you, but you have to test before you go as well. And after you land, some places are saying, well, you can stay, and after a few days, you can test and then leave. That's why it was called the test and release program. I could see that being a thing where to shorten it. So instead of 2 weeks or 1 week, they get down to like 5 days or 3 days, because they say it's like 3 to 5 days to show up. So I could see more of that to open up more travel destinations, because so many travel destinations, so many places really depend on tourism that they have not had any business for 1 year. But if they go for 2 years, there might be no coming back. Okay, so something really to think about when we are looking at travel, because the dollars or euros or yen or renminbi that we spend when we travel make a difference in so many people's lives in the destinations we go to. And that's in domestic travel or international travel. So you really think about that. It's like, wow, how much of a difference am I making when I go someplace? And when you have places that have been really wiped out because of COVID, that is something that was that. And there is a lot of discussion with the vaccine on the equity of it and who's getting it and who's not getting it. So there's a lot of things to think about, but they are ramping up production and things are going well. I mean, there are some places that are doing very well. Israel's doing fantastic. Slovenia is doing fantastic with getting people vaccinated. So you will see probably select countries will be on different lists. There might be different zones for who can come, who can't come, who has to quarantine longer. So just something to think about when you're out there. And the whole mask debate, I mean, it doesn't matter if you get your vaccine or if you tested negative, you will be having to use your mask no matter what. And when you fly, I will tell you right now, the airlines will have no problem banning you for life if you refuse to wear a mask. And here's the thing. There's not that many airlines anymore. It's not like you can get banned from one or two and then fly with somebody else, because how bad this crisis has been financially for the airlines will probably see more of them go out of business. And so you have less and less choices. Okay. So you really, 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 really want to make sure you have your mask and you're wearing your mask and follow the rules about it. Because some places are very strict. Like they will fine you a lot of money if you do not wear it. So just have your mask ready, have multiple masks, because you'll be surprised is sometimes you might go on a hike and you take your mask off for a bit, because, I mean, if you're not out in nature, it doesn't matter really. Or at least that's what they say. I'm not getting into that. But you're out and all of a sudden you're coming up and I was like, where's my mask go? Like, oh, did it fall out when I pulled my gloves out? So we always like to have a few masks. Like when we travel, the kids have theirs. They also have an extra one in their backpack. And I have a couple extra. I actually keep a 4-pack in my bag for the 4 for the family, just in case. I have that. So you never know. Also, I think what you need to realize is some places you want to travel will require you to quarantine when you get there. And some places don't let you pick where you quarantine. You have to go to this certain hotel. going to Canada, you have to quarantine. And there in the hotel system, there's a hotel you have to go to. You don't get a choice. You don't leave the room. This isn't, oh, I get to stay at a hotel and I get to go to the pool. No, you sit in your cramped little hotel room and watch HGTV, kind of stuff. So I just want you to be ready for that, because just because places open up doesn't mean it's fully open up. So you need to do your research for it. And the thing is, this is changing constantly. Like the UK announced this past week that, it could be from May 17th, people could travel international, but they're like, but all these other things have to happen first. That's why be careful whenever you hear a specific date, because those dates get pushed back and pushed back. Okay. That's just best case scenario kind of things. All right. So, I mean, overall things are getting better. Travel is opening up. There are more opportunities out there. I know we just were in Vegas for the last week, had a great time out there. And I'll be honest with you, we felt safer in Vegas than we did in some smaller towns that we traveled around in the U.S. Because people were masked up and the casinos were not messed around. They were like on you. You walk in that door and like, put it on or get out. And I'd never seen so much hand sanitizer in my life as I did there. So something interesting to think about. Now, some other things you really should think about for summer 2021. If international travel is back on the table, don't think you're going to have the multi-country trip, because you could maybe get the requirements to go into one country, but you might have to test again to go to the next country. You might have another quarantine in that one. So instead of the backpacking to 90 countries kind of thing, maybe you stay in one country or two, because the requirements are going to go in each of those. Okay, so something to really kind of think about when you're there. And some places are fully opened up, some aren't. And so that might cause you to look at different countries that might be more open to travel. I mean, my buddy Gabe from Gabriel Traveler, if you go check out his channel, he's been traveling all over the place, and he went to places that did like him to let him go and travel without any interruptions. So you can check out his stuff. He talked a lot about that as well. And the thing is, it's not going to be the same travel stuff. You will still have restrictions. Anywhere you go, anything you do, you need to make sure you're doing reservations. Make sure you're calling up that museum, restaurant, hotel, all these things, because limited capacity, social distancing is going to put a big kibosh on a lot of people that are in there. And even though a lot of people are not traveling right now, there still are people out there traveling, and you can still tell. Like, we were in Vegas, and no, it wasn't like what it used to be, but we were on Vegas on a weekend, and it was like a Vegas on a weekday, which is still kind of busy. So things are coming back. All right. So, excuse me. So I just want to say those things. Okay. So it's not always easy, but the end, like the opening of travel is getting closer. So I just want to kind of talk about these things and look at the vaccine passports and just kind of give you an idea that these are things that we've already had before. It's more of a digitized one. So it's all there. Okay. So I just want to talk about that. Now, I can move on to the discussion here, and I will go through the vaccine passport spiel again in probably about another 30, 40 minutes, top of the hour, to go over it again, just because people come in late or come in early and they're not sure. If you want more information on the traveling during COVID, how to plan your hotel, how to do your planning, all this kind of stuff, we have, actually, if you go down below, there's a coronavirus or COVID travel playlist we have in the description that will help you know, like, how do I clean? What should I look for? What's it like traveling for the first time again? We have all that there. And during the next few months, while we're traveling, we'll be making more videos saying, hey, this is what it's been like, what we have to look for. And in there, it'll be there. So this week I put in what to know about Las Vegas, because a lot of people are starting to go back to Las Vegas, what they need to know about traveling to Las Vegas during coronavirus. Okay, so here's that. So 14142, how is it that you travel so much? We make a financial commitment to travel. I'm not drinking Fuji water. I'm drinking tap water. We don't have fancy cars. I always like to tell people, do you notice I wear the same clothes in all the videos since about 2015? Yeah, because I haven't bought new clothes for a long time. So our money goes towards that. And there's a lot of things you can do to really help you financially prepare for travel, because the thing is, a lot of people say, well, I can't afford to travel. Well, it's all about a perspective. It might not be for now. You might be planning for 2025. Okay. Like, look, it's our big family trip. We don't make a lot of money. We can start saving now. Have a savings account, have a travel savings account, little extra money here, little extra money there, IRS refund, put some of that towards that instead of, when they're, if you ever noticed, when it's IRS refund time, everyone's got, get a new refrigerator, use that IRS down payment as a down payment for a new car. put those things off. There's a lot of financial decisions you can make to make travel possible, because even when I was a broke student, I still found a way to travel because I made that kind of financial commitment that, look, travel is what's most important to me. And I actually had that conversation with myself when I was a college student. I was an exchange student in Argentina, and I had all the money I had when I got there. I'm like, look, I have to make a choice. I can either party it up and be a crazy fun time kind of thing in Buenos Aires, or every night going out like a good college student does. Or I can focus on that money, put it towards travel, and only going out every so often in Buenos Aires. And I decided, look, I want to go see more of South America. So that's really I backpacked around South America for like almost every other weekend instead of putting it all, towards other things. So it really comes to a financial commitment. Like, we cut the cord. We've been living back in the U.S. now for almost 10 years, and we have never had cable. And think about that. When you're spending $250 a month on cable, if you have the premier packages, $250 times 12 times 10. I mean, that's $25,000 I've saved just by not having cable. So there's things you can really think about. Oh, Hairby Bar, thanks, man. You got an awesome channel too. By the way, more fun stuff. Hairby Bar, great stuff to check. Oh, I guess it'd be that way. Great stuff to check out. Thank you very much for the super chat. That's super nice of you, man. Oh, make me blush. No, and so that's one thing I think people, because we'll get people that'll comment on here, they'll be really upset that we travel so much. Like, how do you pay? Did you win the lottery? No, I have a day job. Wolters World doesn't, I mean, I'm not paying, I mean, it's expensive to run it, but it makes enough money, it pays for the travels, okay? So it has that, and I have a day job. And so it really comes down to, let's be, selective with our finances. And I think Shakes does put it very, very succinctly, but be careful though. Traveling is addictive. I always like to say, what was it? Like, this is kind of a bad one, but travel is more expensive than a crack habit, because or a cocaine habit or whatever, like one of these expensive drugs, because it's more expensive than that, but you get something out of it. You don't ruin your life. So it is one of the things you really should, I always promote travel, but I know not everyone can do it. Not like we do. We do travel extensively. Even our kids realize that we travel a lot. And that's saying something. You have kids that are like, yeah, it's pretty nice what we do. I'm like, yeah. And so it's a nice thing. But yeah, it's been an interesting year not traveling internationally for the first time. I mean, this is the first time. I mean, we got back from El Salvador a month and 2 weeks ago, and this is the longest I haven't traveled international since the early 90s. So it's like, wow, this is crazy. But what's been cool is it's given me the opportunity to travel around the U.S. And I think it's important that you do explore domestically. That's what's going to be the big thing this year, okay? Is just like last year. It is one of those things. Hold on. Hear me, Bar. I don't have kids yet, but you give me hope as an example of traveling as a family. Hey, and hear me, Bar. I'll be honest with you. We have so many people that were like, I mean, it blows my mind, because I have students now they're now at child having age, right? And so they're like, they'll have their passport in a lighter with the baby. I guess I need to burn this. I'm like, are you stupid? Like, traveling with little ones is super easy because you bring the food with you and you can carry them around. And if you travel with them young, you have so many great memories with them. And people always say, it's like, well, will the kids remember? Well, you'll remember. And I have one who's 9. He still remembers when he was 2, some of the things in China. And that influence that experience has of meeting people and going out there changes their lives. So one day when you meet the future Mrs. Hearby Bar, or Mr., whatever, you find you and you have your little ones, you'll enjoy traveling with them. Son of Thomas, could you imagine Mark crossing the Alps on an elephant? I'd be scared. I see horses always try to kill me whenever I ride them, even when I was skinny. Okay, so I'm always scared of animal travel, because I've been thrown by horses and I've been bit by horses. In Vienna, I just walk by the horses and they're like, yeah. So I must have like an anti-horse thing. I must have been like a horsefly in a previous life or something like that. Oh, Glenn Starkey, thank you very much. Oh, Mark Starkman, yeah, from Twitter. With Vax, will 2020 be clear with mask? Still save 2023 Australia. Can't price shop. First few post fares 8 months out. Yeah. So Mark is one of my Twitter buddies. Glenn Starkman. See, I'm used to saying Starkman. So Glenn is we chat on Twitter quite a bit. Yeah, for places like Australia, Australia is really strict with this stuff. Our plans this last summer, we're supposed to go to Australia, or not last summer, but last Christmas. We are supposed to go to Australia, New Zealand. I'm not even putting that on an option for this year, and even for next year, I'm kind of worried about if it's going to be an option. So yeah, 2023 Australia is probably a better, safer thing. But you're looking prices for flights usually come out 11 months beforehand. Like if you go on Delta, it's like 11 months. But the thing is that 11 months isn't the cheapest. You got to kind of gauge it how it is. So look at prices now and kind of compare what you see and what's comfortable for you. Because there's been times we want to go to Australia and it was financially impossible for us to do it at $3,000 a pop. Okay, so when we saw them at like 1,500, you're like, oh, okay, we can manage that. So there are some things there. Oh, MH, thank you so much for the super chat. Love your stuff and positivity, brother. Thank you for visiting my motherland in Poland. Oh, you're very welcome. Actually, on our destination location channel, it's a link down below. It's a new channel I started. It's not even a month old. And what I've been doing is taking a lot of our B-roll that we've had from these destinations and just putting a video on that. So it doesn't have me going, blah, 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 do this, don't do that. It's just life there. And so I think next Tuesday and Saturday, I'll have one on Krakow and one on Warsaw. And I filmed it before COVID, so you get to see what it was like, pre-COVID with people all around and stuff like that. So something to check out. So thank you very much for the super chat. And I'm glad we could go. And I got to get Caleb to more than Poland. He only got over a little bit. Liam hasn't been to Poland yet. So that's one of the places that we need to go because we've had so many wonderful supportive fans from Poland over the years. So just want to say thank you. Oh, here you are. I'm married, actually. Sorry, my bad. So it's all good. So Keith asks, dude, I'm in Vietnam. I'm new to your channel. Have you visited Vietnam? No, we have not. That's how the life comes in between travel and destinations and stuff. So we were buying our tickets for a Southeast Asia trip because we're doing Cambodia, Laos, Vietnam, and Thailand, right? Yeah. Cambodia, Laos, Thailand. Yeah. And it was like, we're buying it this week. And my brother, my host brother in Brazil, who lived with my family in the U.S., he called us and he's like, I'm getting married this summer. And so our trip completely changed because then we put all of it to go to Brazil and Argentina instead because we want to be at the wedding. So, but we will get there. We will get there. Adam, I'm doing good. I miss travel, but we've been able to travel around the U.S., so we're still traveling, so that's good. So Rob from TripHacks DC. Hey, if you're going to go to Washington, D.C., go check out Rob's videos. He has so much stuff on traveling and everything you need to know about DC, from restaurants to sites to what to look for during COVID and things like that. Definitely check him out. Best times to go. Rob says USA Tourism Boards, including ours in DC, about to launch big money ad campaign for summer travel. Yeah, that's why, Rob, that's one of the reasons I'm doing this, because I see on our numbers, March is usually one of our biggest months of the year. Actually, January, March, and then July are our big months. Because March, people are planning for summer. July, we're actually traveling, and getting ready to go. And January, it's like where we're going to go future, like hopefulness. So it's kind of fun. So expect to see a lot more travel pop videos and commercials pop up on your YouTube videos versus the Monday.coms and Amazon stuff. So, and for those of you that I'm not getting to your questions, I'm going through a few. I spent a bunch of time at the beginning of the video going over, vaccine passports and stuff, and I'll come back to that in a little while to discuss it, because the people that came on late, because I got about a 10-minute spiel to kind of go through. To help out. Oh, Michael Mon, thank you very much for the super chat, my friend. Good to see you again. Thanks, Mark, for all the great advice. Still holding out hope for Spain in the fall. I'm much more positive now for the fall, Michael, than I was even 3 months ago. So yeah, that's good. I've been flying to Messi for a while now, no worries. Yeah, Michael's been traveling all over the U.S. He's a fantastic. I won't tell you what he does, but he's fantastic what he does, by the way. But we started flying again recently, and honestly, I felt more comfortable flying. Now we're going to fly on another trip here in a little while with the kids and everything, and how things have been cleaner, definitely cleaner, and the rules and stuff. I feel much more comfortable there than I ever felt going to Walmart or the grocery store. I can tell you that much. So if you're worried about flying, from our experience, I felt totally fine. I'm kind of laughing because I just got a notification that there was a thing that was held. It's like I'd like to visit the Redwood National Park, and that was held for review by YouTube. Weird stuff here. Weird stuff. Yeah. Let's see. Michael, traveling the world. I am planning on going to Galena, Illinois in March for a day and a half. Day 1, arrive, and half day, and day 2, full day, and go home. What are your tips? Galena, I've never been to Galena. That's Northwest Illinois, and I don't live by Northwest Illinois, so I have not actually gone through there. So I'm sorry I'm not too helpful. Oh, Ram, thank you. Wow, you're up early. Love your background. If I were to rate your room, it would be 9 out of 10, babe. Joss is very happy for the that you like the stuff. I'm glad to see that. Zeke says, I want to go to LAX next month, and I'm hoping LAX isn't hell. I think pretty much all the airports we've been to so far haven't been, they're nowhere near as busy because not as many people are traveling, so that's helped, but also people are much more, I mean, the thing is, it's the line for not the check-in, it's the line for security with the spacing and stuff that really makes it seem kind of long. So that would be one thing there I'd give you a heads up for. Lewis, I'm doing well. Thank you very much. Yeah, Joby says I've flown on 4 trips since November and it's very safe and clean. I agree. I very much agree. Oh, Glenn, thank you very much for the super chat, my friend. So in general, when is the sweet spot in terms of finding the best fares and hotel rates for overseas travel, and are hotel air packages worth it? That is a very good question, Glenn. So here's the thing. 11 months out, when it first opens, probably not the best price, but you'll see it kind of fluctuates. And actually, if you use a place like Skyscanner or kayak.com, you can put alerts and they'll tell you, and you can say, look, this is when I want to go. When should I buy? And they'll give you actually advice and they'll send you notifications when it's a good time to buy. What I do is, since we usually know where we're going to go, like we have a rough idea of our travel plans a couple years out, I will be looking at prices and see, okay, what are these tickets usually? So then I have an idea when's a good time to buy. I never buy 3 months out or like 2 months out because I'm usually 6 months out. For me, but also we have to plan like where we're going to film. I got to start, studying up for it. I got to do the research. So it's a little bit different for us. So that's one of the things there. Hotel rates are pretty decent anytime. Like hotel rates early your book is actually, I always find is usually better. Because the last minute deals are for like 1 or 2 nights. Sometimes you don't get the deals for a longer stay because they're just trying to fill up today and tomorrow versus like for the next week because someone else might come. So booking the hotels earlier is usually better, what I've found. Now, hotel air packages, this is what's interesting. If you're going to go for like a first class plane ticket, those packages on Expedia and stuff can be a really good deal because what happens is if you just book, let's say it's a $10,000, first class ticket and you book 1 night in a hotel room, all of a sudden it drops down to like $4,000. So it's not cheap, but it really drops down the price and it's only maybe one night in that hotel. And here's the thing, you never have to actually use the hotel. So I know I have friends of mine and that's how they book all of their travels is they'll get the first class thing, but then they'll get it like at half price because so it's most like, so they get like a business class fare instead of a first class fare to go abroad. So it is interesting. So Megan, I flew out of Montreal in December. It took no more than 10 minutes to drop my bags and get through the security. It was a ghost town. Yeah, so that was cool. Barry Riley, pros and cons from leaving from smaller airports. So we will actually pay up to fly from a local airport near us than driving to Chicago because the drive, the parking, the hassle, the Chicago-ness of it, the drivers. Whereas we can drive nearby and we get free parking. Shorter lines for check-in, shorter lines for security. We actually know the people that work for Delta at our local airport. We're always like, "Hey, how are you, Tony? What's up?" We were very sad when Jill retired because she was great, but she retired, so I got to let her. She's done her part. She has helped us all, so we have that. Mohib Sheikh, thank you very much. I'm glad you enjoy our videos. That's nice.
Hey, Dad.
What's up? What's up? You guys have fun. All right. Bye, buddy. Have fun. Bye, babe. Have fun. Chris L., greetings from Germany. You said the Germans are very friendly, and I thought, man, the guy has a positive attitude. Keep it up. Love you.
Bye,
babe. So this funny thing. One of my first videos, like my first viral video. I mean, it wasn't like viral like people think today, but like when you first start a channel and you get a video that gets like 10,000 views, you're like, and so the first one that got like the 10,000 view thing was the 5 love and hates of Germany. And I start with the first hate is the Germans, but the first love is the Germans, because people get really upset with the brusqueness and the hello kind of Germanness. But then we have to realize is you make a friend with a German, they're with you till the end. Like they are the bestest friends you could ever get. And I always love the analogy that people talk about is like Germans are like M&Ms. They got the hard outer shell, so it's hard to break through that shell. But once you get through, you get in that delicious chocolate middle, and the friendliness is forever. So it's really nice. Oh, Megan Miller, thank you very much for the super chat. Thanks for all the great content. We had a trip to Ireland planned for my 40th in July. Looks like we might need to change. Keep up the great work. We appreciate it. Yeah, see, so July is one of those ones that's where my line is. What's it going to be? I know Ireland has really been strict with their lockdown. We've had a lot of people from Ireland commenting about how like they can't go a few miles from their house. As vaccinations increase, things might change, and that's just it. We don't know what it's going to be. But hopefully you get to go, Megan. But yeah, it might get pushed later. And the thing is, if you go later, Ireland is great. We usually go in October because there's no tourists there. There's like none. Okay. And Ireland celebrates Halloween. So you get a little Halloween spirit, easy to drive around, and people are so friendly, and there's not as many tourists there. So you really meet a lot of locals. So if you do have to push about, Megan, it'll be okay. But happy early 40th, but we all know it's only 30. Hush now. You're just fishing for compliments. I tell people I'm 40, even though I'm 30. So they say, wow, you look good for your age. That's what Jocelyn used to do. She always would tell them up like by 5 years. Let's see. So John Burnett says, in my experience, flying from the smaller airports are the same price, just add extra hours to your trip. Yeah, and John does make a point because you have to do the connection when you're going through the smaller airports. But the thing is, we will travel for, sometimes I've gone for up to 10 weeks. And 10 weeks at $20 a day in Chicago is not financially viable. It's not worth it. But like we have a trip coming up and the price, we just went to Chicago because I'm like, I don't want another, it would be like a 4-leg flight. So we did that. Giuliano from Vicenza, my favorite city in Italy. Have some bigly for me, my friend, and a Spritz Aperol. Let's see. So Jennifer Benzie says, in Scotland, we are in lockdown until the summer. Yeah, I mean, you're going to see things pretty locked down till the vaccination rates go up and the things go down. There's going to be these things, but things will start to open up. Hey, debunking history. I'm going to hide you from channel because you're crazy. Don't do that. Okay. Next up. So Adam says, is it safe to cross state lines or I need to get a COVID shot? No, if you're in the U.S., you can domestically travel pretty much anywhere in the U.S. Place like if you fly to Hawaii, you have to have a negative test to go. But if you don't, you can quarantine for 2 weeks and then you can enjoy Hawaii. So there is that. So Heather, the U.S. vaccination program, it's a state-by-state thing. My state has like different tiers. Right now, they're in the 19 years old and up with pre-existing conditions kind of stuff. They are comorbidities or whatever. They can get it now. And then I think in April, it's supposed to go to everybody. But every state is different. Juliana, Spritz Aperol, good choice. Thank you. Oh, yes. And Troy S. makes a good point. Please click that thumbs up button because it does make a difference. One of the things that is kind of surprising is every time we do live feeds, we actually lose subscribers, which is weird, but it is what it is. So having a like on there lets me know you like these videos and also lets YouTube know that people actually do like this and they're not just unsubscribing from here. So something to think about, and I appreciate it. Also, if you want to go look at some of our other channels, I got to tell you, so Jocelyn, who's taking Caleb out right now, she's got her Simply Jocelyn channel, which she does cooking and travel and her version of things. There's a link down below for that. You've got the Professor Wolters channel. For those of you who want to know what my day job is, you can see me teaching marketing, social media, YouTube stuff. You can have that. And then we have a new channel called Destination Location, which is down there, which is basically showing the B-roll from our travels. So instead of me talking all the time, you just see like the beautiful nature that's there. Sometimes we put music behind it. Sometimes it's just the sights and sounds of a place. I know we put some Vegas stuff up there. I think next week we have a couple from Poland coming up, and then we've got a bunch from Ireland coming up around St. Patrick's Day. So lots of new stuff coming on there, but it's only been up for about 4 weeks, so I'm still growing it from there. Let's see. Heather Miller, are you hopeful for international travel? Early summer, late summer? I miss traveling so much. Hope you and your family are doing good. Early summer. Well, it depends where you want to go. Like this place in South America, Central America, Caribbean, you can go right now. And there's other places. But if you look like the traditional, like international travel, people talk about Europe, I would say late summer at the earliest, probably. If you're from the U.S., I think Europe will open up more for European Union residents before then, and people that have countries that have higher vaccination rates and lower case numbers. So let's see. So KSY's hubby and I want to go hike Adrian's Wall in the UK in August. We are both teachers and vaccinated. Do you think it will work? Well, with the vaccination, make sure you keep those cards. Have those. August, maybe. Like I'm not. It's not a hard no. It's a maybe, like a positive maybe there. So something to think about. Monica, when do you reckon the Canada-U.S. border will reopen for car travel? Canada's got some pretty strict stuff right now. Like people flying in have got to stay in a hotel, pay big bucks to stay there for a couple weeks. I don't foresee that till at least, I don't know, sometime in the summer. ACBC, I'll be traveling 2025. Yeah, I think we'll all be traveling by 2025. So there is that. Okay, so Alexander has a good question. It's not a stupid question. He says, what is B-roll? Is that some film terminology, unreleased footage? So B-roll. So in my videos, I put the tripod up and I'm talking to the camera, and then there's like that other pictures that come by and the other video that comes by. So I'm like, so if you go to the Eiffel Tower and then I show like video of the Eiffel Tower, that video is called B-roll. Because the A-roll is the person talking. The B-roll is the other stuff that goes over there. So it's all the cute background stuff that's on there. So Costa Rica is open right now. You can go. Just get tested. And it's great to go. Actually, I put together for destination location, I found a bunch of the old videos of Caleb and I trying to learn how to surf. So you can laugh at me falling and falling and falling. But Caleb totally getting the first try. So that's coming up on March 2nd. Oh, Chris Bates is on here. What's up, Chris? I like the walking YouTubers. It would be cool if when you travel, you guys could do some live streams while walking around. So, Chris, I actually, we were with our friends, Tanya and Dave from Turn It Up World, who are big Vegas YouTubers. And every time they're in Vegas, like they're there tonight, they'll do a live feed from the Strip or somewhere in Vegas during the evening. And so I did that a couple times in Las Vegas, and it was fun. And when we start to travel to Europe again and we get to go to places, we will be doing live feeds like that so people can see what it's like walking around Rome. What's it like going around Vicenza and having spritz and go to Pitanta to get some, food and stuff like that. So we will be doing those. The thing was, the first 2 times I did it was kind of like getting used to walking and talking and holding the gimbal and stuff like this. And the thing is when I started the first walking one, a guy comes up to me, he's like, and just starts dropping F-bombs because he's asking about the gimbal I had. The gimbal is what holds, so you don't have like the steady cam stuff. And so he was talking to me on there. So it's a different kind of live feed than this because you don't get a chance to answer as many questions because when you're using your phone for it, basically like what'll happen is, let's say my video of me is my phone. What I'll see like 1 or 2, like maybe, it depends how small the comments are, 1 or 2, maybe max 3 comments will be here. They like pop up for a sec and then they disappear. And so but the thing is, if on this one, there'll be like 100 comments go by, but on the mobile one, you'll see 3. So I'll see people get really upset with their favorite YouTubers. Cause like, why don't you answer my questions? Well, sometimes it's hard because you don't actually see them. Let's see. Mazen, would you ever think of heading to the Middle East? Yes, we did have a trip scheduled for 2 years ago, but then it got canceled for outside reasons. Not anything from there. But yeah, no, that's one of the places we're going to go. Actually, I'm hoping to start teaching a course in 2022 on business culture around the world, and I want to go film it in all these different parts. So Middle East is one of the business cultures I want to talk about. So We will eventually get there. Do not worry. Let's see. Jack Presley, have you been to Tennessee? If so, what's it like? So Tennessee's got some beautiful nature. Nickajack Lake is gorgeous if you're looking at the southeast part of the state. Nashville, for as much as people talk about country music in Nashville, Nashville is very much a hipster destination, and it's a huge growing city, and they've done a horrible job at planning, so the traffic sucks downtown around the city. I just get upset because I'm like, you've been growing so much for so long, so... So, Don Travis, for all travelers waiting out COVID, Vorfreude ist die schönste Freude. So, pre-joy is the prettiest joy. So, thank you very much for the super chat, Don. I know what you mean. It's one of those German sayings. It's hard to really translate exactly, but I hope I did an okay job. So, Michael traveling the world, since we got a little German in there, and thank you again for the super chat, Don. Do you prefer the Munich residence or the Nymphenburg Palace? So... either one is like the residence. It's a lot easier to do as a traveler because it's right there downtown in Munich. Like you can walk out and go to the Opera House right there if you want to do some more touristy stuff, or Haxe House where I go and have my Haxe, my big like pork shoulder, whatever. That's a cool thing to do. Nymphenburg, if you're gonna go walk the gardens, they are nice. I just think they are opulent, but it doesn't feel as old world as the Residence does. But they're both really cool. I mean, you can both do them all. They're both. I mean, one's right downtown. Residence is right downtown. Nymphenburg, you got. I think you take either an S-Bahn or an U-Bahn out there. So. Let's see. Robert asks, would you travel to Australia? Yes. I was actually an exchange student in Australia many years ago, and had a really good time when I was there. So I'd love to get back. I lived in a town called Temora, New South Wales, which had about 3,000 people, but I lived out on a sheep ranch for part of the time. Wonderful people. Wonderful time I had there. I think I still have the Sophie B. Hawkins Damn, I Wish I Was Your Lover CD single somewhere that I got at the local thing there. And I remember going to the Chippy and getting chips, French fries in like newspaper, and they're like putting vinegar on there and stuff. I'm like, what are you doing? But it was so awesome. But yeah, it was a great experience. So Alarkan blog, do you recommend Oktoberfest or any other food and beer festivals in Europe? If so, how many days? Any tips? So Oktoberfest, what you have to realize is Oktoberfest is fun, and there's a lot of tourists that go there, but there's a lot of companies and organizations that rent out the tents, that rent out the tables. So if you want to actually get a beer and sit down and do stuff, you should be there when it opens at early in the morning, like at 10 in the morning, or I'm not sure when it opens now, but you want to be there early because you can get a seat, and they will only serve you beer if you're sitting down at a table. You can't walk around and get one. So there is that. But the thing is, those tables are reserved from like 6 o'clock at night. Then it's all the companies that come in. So be ready for that. From experience, I will tell you, don't drink 6 Masses. That's 6 of these, and then go on the roller coasters that are there. It's not a pleasant experience. I didn't throw up, but the Italian guys that were with me, yeah, they did not have a good time. Okay, so let's see. Anticipation is the greatest joy. Yeah. Thanks, Matt Healer. Let's see. So, Steve, I do not know any can't miss towns in Utah outside of national parks. I know we're going to be going through northern Utah this summer. So I don't think we're going to get down to like Zion or anything, but we will get to Dinosaur National Monument when we are there. So there is that. Oh, another thing about Oktoberfest, you need to book way in advance for accommodation, or you might be staying in another town. So there is that. So Robert, I have not been to Melbourne. I was in Temora, and of course went to, because Wagga was the big city right there. Wagga, the greatest town ever, called that. So we would go there occasionally. I went to Bathurst there was a race there. I went to Adelaide, which I thought Adelaide was gorgeous. That was the first time I really appreciated green space in a city, because they had this great ring around the city of parks. Went to Sydney and went to Canberra. So I got around quite a bit when I was there. So that was a really great experience. Brian is moving to LA from Brazil. Any tips? I've never been to LA, and every time I go to LA, it gets canceled. So I was trying to go to VidCon twice. I had to cancel those. I was supposed to go to Vid Summit, got canceled. Supposed to go to Vid Summit again in this May, got moved. So hopefully I'll be there this fall. Hi, Sam. I am. Let's see. All right. So for those of you that asked questions before that I didn't get to, you can actually put your questions back in now. I'll start answering some of those. Augie's Travels. What is your credit card strategy as it relates to travel, earning points, miles, and cash back? So Augie, this is one of those things. When you're picking a credit card, a travel credit card, you have to look at in terms of how you're going to use those points. How are you going to use it? Is it for, like if you're going to do do you spend a lot of time in hotels? Maybe you get a hotel once, then you get the free hotel stuff. Right. And that's one, if you do a lot of domestic travel, like in sales and stuff for work, I always recommend getting those because then you can use that and your company pays you back unless they pay for it. Because then you can earn up those miles or those points and get free stays on your own personal vacation. Personally, for me, I use the American Express Delta card because it gets me extra MQMs, which is how they track their miles kind of stuff. It also helps me, like I get upgraded all the time. I get the free bags. And so those things, and like we will have the kids fly for free with our miles. So that's what we focus on because we fly Delta so much because there's a Delta spot literally 45 minutes if you drive the speed limit from my house. What I tell people is like, look, if you're going to get a credit card for an airline, make sure you're actually going to travel because there's no point in getting if you're not going to travel. Get the cash back ones. I know my parents used the Sam's Club MasterCard because it had the best cash back on it. And that's what you can look at because financially, am I going to be are the benefits I'm going to get for travel over the like 2 or 3% cash back? See, I travel so much that it's worth it because we get upgraded. I mean, we all get upgraded pretty much. Like if we have a 4-leg flight, we'll get upgraded probably at least 3 of those flights. And right there, if you get upgraded to a first class seat or even to a economy plus kind of thing, that pays for the 3% or whatever in no time flat. So something to kind of think about that way. But for a lot of people, I always recommend is like get the one that's financially best for you because if you're only traveling once or twice a year, what you can do is get that card and then you have to spend the $3,000 or whatever to get the card. And then you get all those miles and then you can use that to get a free trip and then you can use your other card. So something to think about. So Kevin asks, what are you most looking forward to? Any traveling we can do. I know we've got a trip to Hawaii coming up. We're doing a trip out to Oregon, Utah, Colorado, Montana, Idaho, Washington, Northern California. We've got that. I'm hoping for Italy so we can go to my buddy's wedding because I'm supposed to sign the documents and stuff. So, Maureen, Delta has a few different cards and they range from like $600 to $100. Depends which one you get for their annual fee. So Funky 007, can't wait to see your new movie whenever you have it come out. Where is Walter going this summer? So like I just said, I guess you commented and it hadn't shown up yet. So the summer stuff is going to be probably a road trip out to the coast on the West Coast and coming back, seeing a bunch of national parks and stuff, and hopefully an Italy trip. If things open up, we'll definitely do Italy. And I'll probably go on a trip with my mom somewhere. My mom and I were supposed to go see our family, like history places by Strasbourg and Colmar in France, but also then kind of by Stuttgart in Germany. So we're going to be there. So Funky 007, a shot for a lot of travelers when they go to Utah is alcohol is not verboten in Utah. You can get alcohol. So let's see. Other stuff. Hans Christensen, I have not been to Ukraine yet. That's one of those things we're looking at for a future trip. And it's funny because we have kind of like a house of cards of our travel destinations, like how it's kind of set up. And it's like, okay, so this is this year, next year, possibilities for the year after. So there's a lot more possibilities in the future. And as we get closer, we start booking. So it's like this. Then what COVID did was make the entire pile fall down. So now every destination is kind of like at the same level. So in one way, it's liberating because we can go wherever we can go. But the planning and all my scripts that are like starting to get work on, I'm like, well, let's see where we can go, have been kind of pushed around for a little bit. So, yeah. When am I planning my next trip? Brian asked the most important questions. Greetings from Cambodia. When are you planning your next trip to Culver's? So I'm always thinking about that next trip to Culver's. Maybe I'll pick it up for lunch today for Liam, because Jocelyn and Caleb, they're out of town for the year. They just left for the day. So maybe I'll take Liam to get some Culver's here for lunch after we finish this. So let's see. So Michael, traveling world, how much time should I spend in Boston? What should I do? We have a don'ts of Boston, tips for Boston video, but I would say 2 days, like you have the historic center. There's the Red Line you can walk and see a lot of stuff. But I would say 2 full days in Boston to see all the things that are there. Worth doing it. Yeah, Tyler, from vaccine talk getting too serious. Everyone can make their own decision. Yeah, this is not a political discussion. And actually, you saw 2 million. If we talk about, I'll go through, because this is what the title of the video is vaccine passports. And I talked about this at the beginning. I'm going to refresh that so we can, I'm going to go through that. So vaccine passports. And this is where, sorry for those who just sent all those comments. I'll come back to you in a bit. I'm going to go through my list of topics here that we would talk about in the beginning. 10 minutes max. We'll get back to the questions. So vaccine passports, what you have to realize is we've had vaccine passports for a long time. There's a yellow card, a yellow booklet that you put your vaccines in to go to certain places. For example, I have a yellow fever vaccine to go to the Pantanal in Brazil, and I had to have it to go to Tanzania. And when we flew into Tanzania a few years ago, they were taking our temperature on the tarmac, and we had to show them the yellow fever or the proof of the yellow fever vaccine and our passport right there. And so this is the thing that happens. What you're seeing now, though, is they're trying to say, look, vaccine passports so people feel more comfortable about traveling, because we already have those things. Like, look, we already have the yellow card. Just put the stamp in there. We'll be good to go. But people are worried, and it's a different set because it's such a big one. Because usually the yellow fever or whatever, Rocky Mountain spotted fever, whatever vaccines you have to travel, they were so specific that they just have this card. And a lot of people don't know about the yellow fever, the yellow booklet. And so we've had these things for a while. But what you're going to see is the vaccine passport is a thing that they can use to standardize, so that people can feel like, oh, everyone has the vaccine passport so they can travel. I feel more comfortable, because there are people, if you see in the comments, there's people like in my videos, how dare you travel? You should be home locked up forever. And you're like, no, if you feel comfortable traveling, there's ways you can travel safely. And we've done that. And so vaccine passports to help people feel more comfortable about traveling. Okay. It's almost like a marketing ploy in terms of, hey, it's okay to travel now. Know this. Not to make light of the thing, but it is one of those things that there's a business decision about that. That's why you have 23 million. It's not, you have 23 different airlines that are working together to try to figure out a standardization. I think you will have something that's out there for flying. But yeah, it does lead into a lot of discussion about your civil rights and stuff like that. So that's a whole other thing. And I'm focusing on traveling, not the other stuff that's out there. So moderators, if you can help me out, it'd be great. So there's that. I think another thing you have to realize, a helpful thing, if you go down below, we actually have a COVID travel playlist that goes through like planning, what to look out for, how to deal with your Airbnb or your hotels, how to clean your stuff, all those things. We have that down below. So we have a lot of videos there. And as we travel, we've been making videos since July traveling. So we've been traveling since July around the US. But we just did one last week. We were in Vegas, and so we did one for Las Vegas travel planning during COVID, so you know what to expect. So there is that. So something to think about. And really picking your destination is going to be a really big influence in terms of travel going forward, because some places you're not going to be able to get into, or some places it's like, look, you can go in here, but if you go to the next county or state or country, you have to retest, re-quarantine, so that's going to influence. So make sure you look at the restrictions for all the places you're going to go, because your 72-hour negative test will only work for that 72 hours. It won't work for the next country you go to. So there is something to do about that. And so the Habit Master says, where do we get a vaccine passport? So there's no set vaccine passport yet. What I recommend is when you get your vaccine, they give you that piece of paper, you get your stamps and said, I got my first one, second one. Keep that. That's what you're going to need to like have proof. And then there'll be some electronic thing. You'll probably have to scan it or something. I mean, it just depends how it's set up. Also, I would say if you're going to be traveling and you have to test before you go somewhere, make sure you look up and see what exact test do they want, because not every test is accepted. The test I do for work twice a week is not accepted to go to Hawaii. Okay, so I have to get a different kind of test for that. So you want to make sure you're looking at those things. And the idea of quarantines are going to be a thing, even if it's for a few days, because you might be vaccinated. And they're saying, look, you still come, but we will still test you again on day 3. So do be prepared that your travels might have a few days where you're stuck inside. Because that's one of the things that might happen. I mean, the thing is all these rules, all these regulations are changing so quickly that what I say now, you got to go look it up. Okay. I mean, I'm saying this now on February 27th. If you watch it on February 28th, go check it out because the rules and restrictions may change. Okay. Let's see. Yeah. And the thing is, there's a lot of things you can do to help out. I mean, I know a lot of people are like, well, how can you travel? I mean, it's so wrong. Well, you know, is it right to go to, you know, I felt safer traveling than I felt going to Walmart in my hometown. So there's a lot of stuff we have to think about. Now, let's get back to some travel stuff. Okay. Harsphere, Pahar, love Wolters World. Thank you very much. And your content. Thank you. What was the most surprising thing about your travels in Russia? Did you find it safe? So I would say, going to Russia, I had a lot of friends that were Russian, so I could speak a little bit. But I only was like St. Petersburg. We have stuff with Moscow. So those are bigger cities. Where I saw the biggest issue, homosexual travelers, the LGBTQ community, African American travelers, Middle Eastern travelers. There was harassment. Okay, so that's one thing I say is be careful with that. It's getting better, but it's not great. Okay, for that. What else? But in terms of it, you'll be surprised the price difference that you can have when you go there. Like if you go to the local place, it's like, 35 rubles. And then you go to the fancier place, it's 3,500 rubles. So there is like Russia can be super, super cheap to travel to, or it can be super, super expensive. Like Moscow always gets rated as one of the most expensive cities in the world. And if you go there, you can understand why. Let's see. Cat, what is your take on cruises? We have one scheduled in July. It depends where you're going to be cruising to. Gary Bembridge, he's got a cruise channel on YouTube, has all kinds of great information. He's up to date every week. He's put out a couple of videos about travels and updates on cruises. I would go check out his channel. Bald guy, good guy, British dude, goes on cruises all the time. That's his job. Let's see. Okay, Dial says, hey, when is the best time to travel to Belgium with kids for holidays? I would go if they have spring or fall holiday. I would go then. Summer can get pretty busy, but it's still doable. Like we were there in July a couple of years ago with our kids, and it still was fine. But it's pretty good any time of the year to go. If you're going to go with your kids, Belgium or Brussels for the kids, not as much stuff. I would focus on Bruges. Maybe Antwerp, Ghent is really nice. So there's some stuff to do with your kids there. So there is that. Let's see. Oh, I've been stuck on the same thing. I had a big jump. I apologize for the other been commenting that I did not get back there. No, I have never met Gary, but we've chatted on Twitter before and on our comment sections. Kindred spirits is two follically challenged YouTubers. Yes, thank you, Mark Finley. Mark Finley put a link to Gary's channel on there. Okay, Petra has a good question. Do you anticipate travel prices will increase once more countries start to open up? It's going to be interesting. You will eventually. Right now, there's still here's the thing. Prices for flights didn't really come down a lot for a while because people weren't traveling anyway. So if people aren't going to travel anyway, why lower the price? It's only people that have to travel, so we can price whatever we want. This is a straight marketing thing. But once lower prices can inspire people to travel, then you're going to see more deals because, people are traveling. I want to get them to come to my country instead of my neighboring country. So what are we going to do? So that's where you might see some prices coming down. It's the old supply and demand. Funky 007, 2 weeks in Luxembourg's a long time. Yeah, that's too long. I'm not a Luxembourg fan. I did not find the people very friendly. I have friends live there, service there. I was just not not impressed. I've been there a few times. I go there to see my friends that live there, but service there. I mean, they make good money, so they do not care about you at all. But it is gorgeous, all the castles that are there. But 2 weeks is way too long for Luxembourg. Sorry, Luxembourg, Luxembourgeois. But I got to be honest. Good to pass through. Spend a few days. Go see castles. Go eat and drink with my buddies. My buddy Isabel. So that's good. Jennifer Benzie, I'm missing traveling so much. She's up in Scotland. So much. Even the possibility of getting to travel down south to England sounds exciting to me. Yeah, I understand that. That was the thing. It's like once we took that first step to travel again and we took the precautions, it was like, oh, this does open up. And then that opened up to, we spent the whole month of September traveling, the whole month of November traveling. We were gone for, a week, and then we're going to go again. And so there's a lot of stuff there. Let's see. Funky, I will let you show me the real stuff. See, there are some good people there, so don't worry. Not everybody. I mean, like I said, it's service. And that's the thing. It's like, if you go to Paris, the service in Paris will sometimes turn people off, but the Parisians are fantastic. New York, the New Yorkers are freaking awesome. I love them. So, but some people don't like them. So it's just one of those things. So, Aridas, which country do you recommend visiting in Europe if you're on a budget? Any recommendations that are often overlooked by tourists? Love your content. So, places that are overlooked that are really nice. I'm a big fan of Slovenia, but it is not a cheap destination. The cheap destinations in Europe are Spain, Portugal, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Poland, Czech, Hungary. They can be cheaper, not cheap, like less expensive. There's very few cheap destinations anymore in Europe. There's some more affordable ones. So those would be my more affordable places to go there. Greece is affordable when you're there, but getting to Greece from the U.S. is prohibitively, it doesn't make sense how much more expensive it is to go to Greece than going to Italy. So what we usually do is when we go to Greece, we don't fly in and out of Greece from the U.S. We'll fly to Italy, or we'll go to the Netherlands or France, and then we'll take like an EasyJet flight for like 35 euros to Crete or Athens, because we can get that flight to Paris for like $700 and then pay 35 euros, so like $50 to get that last part. And we can see Paris for a few days. Whereas if I flew directly to, Athens, it was like $1,200. I'm like, times 4. That's $2,000. $2,000 to fly direct to Paris or direct to Athens, or I spend, what's 35, 70, like $200 round trip with the family. So through the other airlines to fly in some other destinations. So something to think about. And that's one of the things I think you all should really consider is if you have the time, because this is the thing, you have to have the time to have, I got to have 2 days in Paris on the way back and 2 days in Amsterdam on the way back, like in and out. So then I have enough time for my Greece trip in between. That's one of the things you really need to think about. So Josh is thinking about going to Japan, Iceland, or somewhere in the U.S., like Glacier National Park in the summer. What do you recommend? All those are fantastic. There's no losing in that. Any place you go, love them all. We're actually going to Glacier this summer as well. But Josh, if you're going to go to Glacier, book your stuff ASAP because they are filling up very quickly around there. So, Bono Joe, do you think I have a problem entering the U.S. from Canada if I don't get vaccinated? I think what you're going to have is it's either proof of vaccination or a negative test. I think that's one of those things going to happen. Let's see. What is another question? Ireland's fantastic. That's one of our plans for later this year. Yeah, Ireland is affordable. That's true. Thanks, Troy. Ireland's a place I recommend a lot of people for their kind of first time going to Europe. From the U.S. because there's no language barrier. It's driving on the other side of the road is really so foreign to a lot of people that makes it foreign enough. But the people are fantastic and they're used to having tourists coming, so well worth going there. Let's see. I think all places will eventually open their borders. It just might not be this summer. So Rico asked, do you suggest Switzerland in the summer? Yes, Switzerland is gorgeous. Taking the trains around there. I mean, it's just Switzerland, there's only two bad things about Switzerland. One, it's super expensive. And two, it's not the most child-friendly. But if you have money or you don't have kids, it's great. But honestly, sometimes just taking the train through Switzerland, probably the most gorgeous train rides in Europe are through Switzerland. So where's that? No, I've never met Tony from La Vida Loca. La Lido Loca. No. So not even Czech. Hi, Mark. Love your videos. I have an approved visa long-term for Czech Republic. However, due to COVID, I cannot enter with an approved passport. Can I get to Prague? Do you know anything? Yeah, like until things open up, you're going to be locked out. That's what sucks. I mean, I have a colleague who started working for us in August. She has, because luckily we're all doing online teaching. She's been in Canada the entire time. She's been teaching all of her classes from Canada, and she has yet to actually move to the U.S. for the job she's had for 9 months. So yeah, it's tough. Yeah, Maryland, I can't wait to get back to Ireland either, or Kansas City. Kansas City, underrated city in the U.S. I mean, honestly, you go to Kansas City, the Nelson Atkins Museum there, one of the top art museums in the world, really. I mean, it's fantastic. Fantastic barbecue. Most underrated, underappreciated, people aren't going to museum that they should go to, the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum there. It is incredible. The stories they tell. It's not just, like if you go to the Baseball Hall of Fame, it's all just baseball. But this one's, it's baseball, but it's also the history what the players went through. It is a fantastic museum. Fantastic museum. If you're ever in Kansas City, you have to go. It is amazing. Hans Christensen, I have been on the Eurostar. It is, yeah, it was. I used to take it quite often back in the day before the cheap airlines made it, just easier to fly. Mo, if you're there into this year, that's where we're supposed to be, buddy. So hopefully we'll be in Northern Ireland towards the end of the year if things open up. Not even Czech. Kansas City is dope. It is dope. It is dope. World War I Museum there is really good too. Oman. I haven't done research on it, but I have to do more research. But most likely we would go there. Oklahoma City. I have not been to OKC. That was one of the things we were thinking about going on spring break with the kids, was going Route 66, but we ended up changing our stuff. Giselle, what's up? Hola, Mark. Would love to go to Spain. Yes, I'd love to go back to Spain. Actually, so that's my first study abroad trip I have planned for students when we can travel again, is to go to Spain. Because my students always have a good time there. People are wonderful. A lot of our students learn Spanish, so it's a nice, they get to practice, so it's good. Let's see. Budapest and Vienna, both worth seeing. Very, very different stuff. If you want more of the high culture, Vienna is that with the museums. Budapest is more, much more fun partying there, and it's a lot cheaper there, but you can eat well, drink well, and party well in both. So 11, Guatemala City, I have not been in. We've been to Tikal and on that side of the country, so I can't really say. I'm sorry. Hoge says, do you think it makes sense to book flights for December 2021? With airlines now, what they're doing is if you're booking your tickets, they'll check the airline, see what their policy is, because it might be no change fee. So you can book for December, and if stuff's still going on, you got to change. You don't have to pay for any change fees. Then you can move it back farther if you want. It also depends on your financial situation, because with COVID, people's financial situations are very dire in some sense, so you want to think about that too. AJP, really great information. Thank you. I'm glad we can help. How easy is it to camp in the U.S.? So there are designated campsites at national parks, so you can do that. And there's there's a bunch of campgrounds, but you're not going to camp by big cities usually. I'm going to tell you that. It's more when you're getting out in the open. So there is that. That would be my best for there. Brent Ross, ever attended Highland Games in Scotland? I have, but I've actually gone to more when I lived in Germany. I lived in Berlin for a number of years, and there'd be in the late 90s, early 2000s, there was a bunch of these traveling Scottish Highland Games kind of things, and so they'd come to Berlin a couple times a year, and I would go every time. Yeah, I was like, yeah, so they are fun. They're fun to see and do, and a lot of times they would tie it in with a medieval fair too, so it was a nice double combo. So that was good. So Alarcon blog, when do you think they will reopen universities for in-person classes? So some universities are already back face-to-face. My university where I teach, they have some face-to-face learning, but students always have the option to learn from home. So it's videotapes, and they can be in the classroom. But I teach classes with 600 people, and there's no location that you can socially distance 600 people. So I'm online right now. A friend of mine, she's taking a class where I usually teach a class of 600 that holds 1,500 people. It's a class for 50 people now. And she says maybe 3 people show up. So there is some things there. So I think in the fall, I would expect there'd be more students being face-to-face because universities want to get students back face-to-face. I'll tell you, I'm teaching online right now, and I'm teaching the same classes I taught before. And the amount of information students are getting, I think they learned a lot, got a lot more kind of came in when it was face to face because then they had to be there. Whereas now, they're watching, YouTube videos or, the things there. And it's easier. I mean, think about it. How many of you are listening to me, but you're checking out and doing something else? Now imagine there's not a professor looking at you. Are you doing something else? No, I don't know if you're playing, Bejeweled or Angry Birds or making breakfast, So that's one thing, guys, I would really like to get back with my students because for me as a professor, having my students there really makes me want to teach even more and answer their questions because when you're face to face, you can tell when people kind of don't understand. You kind of get a feel of the room. Whereas online, it's hard to get a feel for the room unless someone actually writes, I have a question. And if you think students don't raise their hands to ask questions in a normal classroom, they really don't do it when it's online. So that's why I forcefully call out people hey. Oh, man. OT says San Martin de los Andes, Argentina is so beautiful. Yes, Argentina, man. If you go, the Andes there, anywhere throughout there, San Martin's nice. I spent some time in the foothills by Cordoba and did some stuff there. Really cool. Bariloche and farther going down south in Patagonia. Yeah, the nature of Argentina is fantastic. Matthew Robinson, love your videos. Oh, thank you very much. That's really nice of you. Crush Me 99. Is there some country you would never, ever, ever want to visit? I have kind of certain rules when I travel. One, if a chance I might not come home, I'm not going there. So war zones, high levels of kidnapping or stuff like that, like North Korea, I'm not going to go to just in case. Yeah, I know there's been other people that have gone there and they've made their videos and shown what it's like in there. I got 2 kids. I mean, I know I'm fat. I'm putting my own life at risk by being fat. I'm working on it. But I just make a point I'm not going near war zones, or any place that's going to be like that. I'm not going to go. If it changes and becomes safe or safer, yeah, I'll go back. We went to places that people are still scared to go, like Rwanda. Rwanda is one of the greatest experiences we've ever had traveling, but people are still scared to go there because of the genocide from 27 years ago. But it's fantastic, and you really see how the people of Rwanda have reconciled, come back together, and you're like, man, if they can come back from that, all the differences we have in America and other places, right? You realize, look, we can come back together too. So, 14142. I'm eating here. It's 4 p.m. See, people are eating. At least now I know the time. It looks like we're about a minute and a half difference from what I'm saying and what you all are hearing, which is funny because whenever you watch lives, you'll notice at the beginning, people are like, are we on? Is it on? Was it working? Let's wait. And then they start a minute in, because what happens is when you click start live, start streaming, and then when the button says go live, there's this window that no one really knows what's up there. So I'll actually start talking about stuff, and Jocelyn's doing other things. And I'm trying to enter just in case whenever it starts. Hey, Anna from Russia. Privyet. Yeah, Melody says, I agree. I'm a high school teacher and it's not the same. It isn't. I know my kids, they hate school. But they don't hate school because of homework. They don't hate school because of the teachers. They hate school because they're not learning. They're I want to learn more. And the online, they're just they want to go back to school. They want to be back. I know my oldest, his school, he gets to go back 2 days a week starting the end of March. And he is so pumped for it. So... Oh, Rob, with a little help there, got to use the ultra low latency mode for your live chats. We'll do next time, Rob. See, Rob knows everything. Rob, help me get this microphone so the volume's better and the sound's better. Thanks, buddy. So go check him out. TripHacks DC. Anything you want to know about DC, dude can hook you up. And he gives awesome tours as well. So you could learn from him before you go and then take a tour when you're there. Tell him Wolters World said hi. So I think he's had 1 or 2 people that have come from here to say hi on his tours. So Stuart Ross, what was it like to go back to the airport and how you feel during travel? So I was kind of worried going to the airport. We actually did a video, our first day flying back. If you go down below and click on the coronavirus or COVID travel playlist, it's the second video on there. At first I was nervous, but then there were so few people there. And it was more eerie than anything because the airports were so empty. So that was that was the weirdest part. But when we flew back from Vegas, I'm like, I feel comfortable. We can take the kids flying. Like I felt good. So, hey, Scott Neal, my Scottish brother. Good man, good man. All right, Michael, you be good, my friend. You have a great rest of your weekend. My love to the fam. Oh, Michael Gabor. When will Australia open? We have had 2 trips canceled. We had 1 trip canceled. I am not rebooking. I'm not even attempting to rebook Australia until 2023. Because they are very strict with their stuff. They've said they're probably going to open up to New Zealand and Southeast some stuff in Southeast Asia. But I 2022 at the earliest, I would say. But for us, like our 2020 trip to Australia, New Zealand has been pushed back to probably 2023. But that's me. I mean, it could open earlier, but I'm not. I mean, how we travel and have to plan stuff, I just can't take the chance. Oh, OT, thank you so much for your videos. You helped us get through this pandemic. I'm really glad we could. That was one of the things. For those who don't know, at the beginning of the pandemic, we started doing live feeds. We had Whiskey Wednesdays, and then Saturday mornings we would do lives every day, every Wednesday and every Saturday in March, April, and then May. And I think in May we switched to just I think Whiskey Wednesdays, and then we just do it once a month. But for us as well, it was like we get to interact with people, and it was really great. We were sad about travel and it being gone, and now we're a year into no travel, and I'm from Illinois, think and act wisely, and now I'm seeing people starting to ask questions about travel again. That's one of the reasons I did a live feed earlier this week. We did 2 live feeds from Vegas. And we're doing these because now people are starting to plan about travel. That's why I want to talk about the vaccine passports. That's why I'm talking about masking up all the time and choosing your destination, and why I'm really pushing that COVID travel playlist down below. Watch those videos and do like them, because the thing is, if you talk about COVID or coronavirus, it does not get promoted on YouTube. It does not get shown. So it will not get seen by people that need to watch. So your likes and stuff, that actually helps it have a better chance of getting seen. So Eric Hall asks, is an Alaskan cruise the best way to experience Alaska? Yes, I think it's a really great way to do it. Maybe not during COVID, because I'm really gun shy about cruises right now. But yes, that would be the way to go. Like, we've looked at doing Alaskan cruise, and we've actually talked about it to see how things are. It might be something that Joss and I and the kids will do here. I don't know if we'll do it this year, but that's definitely in the cards. So Scott Neal says, were the guys still giving out the business cards? It's for the oldest business in the world, I guess. They were not. And the streets of Las Vegas have never been so clean that the people, they're called slappers. These are guys that'll give you the cards to the escort services. That's what Scott's talking about. They're out there, just give to everybody. Like, they look like baseball cards, so like kids will grab them and stuff, but people get them, they just drop them on the ground, and it was always a mess. I mean, that's one thing I said in my video, the pandemic Las Vegas video. I have never, ever, ever seen Vegas this clean. So, Hitting Tax, I have met nobody. Hitting Tax 26, the only YouTubers I've ever met. I've met Rob from TripX DC. I've met Darian from Magnificent Germany with Darian. Good man, good man. I have met Tanya and Dave from Turn It Up World. I have met Liz and Derek from Means to Travel. I've met Dutchified, Arno from Dutchified. And who else? Yeah, from YouTube channels, that's the only ones I've actually personally met. I've talked to Gabe from Gabriel Travel. We talked online a few times. And Gary Benbridge from his cruise traveler stuff. We've chatted, but like we comment and stuff like that, like how we're talking here. Oh, Axel, thank you so much for the super chat. I love your content, Mark. Have you ever been to India? We have not been. We do want to go. My great Grumpy Grump was in the British Army, and he was in India, but his job was painting all these places all over India. So we have a collection of paintings from the 1800s. Of places around India, and I want to go visit those places. Like my dream is to do a series on visiting these places that he painted in the 1830s and 20s. Maybe he was there for a while, like off and on, and like go back to see those places. So there's that, and I've had a number of fantastic friends from India, so we want to go see their families and stuff. So my buddy Dwee, who's out there, got to go see him and stay with him, and we've had some other friends. We've have a lot of connections with India. So that is part of the plan. That was one of the, I don't know if that was 2022 was the original plan for India. Because that's a longer trip. We don't want to do like a 10-day. We want to do like like the summer, like, 8-9 week trip and go visit India. And because we have to understand is India is so different north south. It's like two different countries. Okay, so we really want to check that out. So thank you very much for the super chat. That's really nice of you. Crushing. Wow, what are the Vegas street sweepers doing? They're keeping it clean. Thomas, that's funny. I won't say it out loud, but your baseball comment was pretty funny. Let's see. Axel, hi Mark. I'm on exchange to South Korea. Super grateful to be here. Do you have plans to ever go there? Yes. So South Korea is a touchy subject in my family's house because my dad worked in South Korea for a number of years and never took us. And after he retired, he's like, oh, yeah, we could have taken you. Like, I would have gone to work and they would have shown you all around. It would have been great. And my mom, I thought my mom was going to punch him. She's like, what? We could have gone him and shown her. Oh. So we were really, really sad about that. So Rob from TripHacks DC says, you should be shocked how many YouTubers you reach out to and just don't respond, even to a VIP like Mark. I wouldn't say I'm a VIP, but yeah. No, I've reached out to a number of people. Some have been nice. Like when Mark Weens was before Mark Weens, Migrationology was billions and billions of views when he was, a much smaller channel. I reached out to him and he's like, look, I'm too busy with this stuff, but I appreciate you contacting me. I was like, I respect that. Like, it was just a nice email he sent back. I mean, I've never talked to him since then. And now he's like enormous. So it's awesome to see. But he was real nice about it. But I mean, I've had people say, yeah, let's do something. They'll just never respond back or never work. And yeah, it's weird. Let's see. What did that evil Mark Finley say? It doesn't say what you said. I just said, Mark, just kidding, Mark. Love you. I love you too, bro. Let's see. Hoagies, Dubai, safe destination to travel in 2021, considering COVID. Any place can be as safe or as dangerous as you want it to be. It depends on what precautions you take. I don't know if we're probably not going to Dubai this year, but Dubai is definitely on our list of places. Excuse me, we are planning on going. So there is that. Michael, what's the worst airport? For Michael, it's JFK. For the best, he says Zurich. Jocelyn loves Zurich. We hate JFK because how you have to get around JFK and all that stuff. But I only fly through JFK occasionally. The one I fly through the most, that gives me the most frustration, is O'Hare. So there is that. Oh, Chris Taylor, yeah. If you're going to Tokyo, actually, either the airports in Tokyo are fantastic. Oh, Tanya, hey, yeah, getting back to Vegas. We just got back. It was fantastic being in Vegas. The food's still fantastic. The gambling's still going, but I was surprised how few people I saw gambling. Like compared to when I usually go. The only time I saw it really happen, Bellagio on a Wednesday was hopping. But the other places we went, especially if you go farther from the center of the strip, it gets really, really dead. So that's one thing is like we stayed out in the Delano, which is in Mandalay Bay because it's very south and kind of stay away from the hustle and bustle of the center strip like Bellagio, Paris, Caesar's Palace. Caesar's Palace, so something to think about. Alonzo says, I have a huge Europe trip planned for Europe. Just should I cancel even though I'm vaccinated? Dude, it depends when you're supposed to go and what's opened up. Okay, you got the vaccination, so you're already ahead. So the vaccine passport's out there, which they're working on. The EU is actually discussing right now what their plans for this is going to be. So it'll all depend when you're supposed to go. Petra, do you have any experience with the Paris Christmas markets? Yes. So Paris, if you're going to... First off, Strasbourg is the Christmas capital of France, so that's one thing you need to know. Paris has a lot of smaller markets. It's not like one center place, so when you're going around different arrondissements, different neighborhoods, there'll be like little markets and little things going around, and you'll see the hot chestnut things going. And anytime there's a town square, there's going to be something going on, so you will have fun. It's not as pervasive or as ubiquitous as German Christmas markets, but they're still really nice. We've actually spent Christmas in Paris a few times, and Christmas season. So yeah, you'll definitely get the Christmas spirit and have a lot of vin chaud, which is hot wine. So enjoy that. And they don't do the fond, the deposit like in Germany. You don't get the cute cups. You get like plastic cups. So you like hold it. Don't burn your hands. So you got to drink. So it can get complicated. Wear gloves for safety. Magnificent Journey with Darian. We love your live streams. Thank you, Darian. And Darian's going to be live here in about 30 minutes. Talking to my buddy Eric Svart, who's in Austria. So there's that coming up. Brent in Wyoming. Wyoming, totally underrated state. Fantastic place. We loved Wyoming. Oh my God. It was so good. Does Turn It Up ever leave Las Vegas? They're still doing lives. So Tanya and Dave were there for 2 weeks, I think, a little over 2 weeks. So that's why they've been doing all those lives, because they've been there. I felt bad because we were supposed to do a double live, because we did a double live together one night, and then I did one day. We were going to do another one that night. I think it was last Wednesday. This one? Not this Wednesday. We just had the one before. But we had gone to Hell's Kitchen, and we went to Hell's Kitchen just to like have a snack. And then we ended up having appetizers and a main meal. And then they gave us all, like, we had all the desserts. So we were like, I can't do the walk-in and go live. Like, we were going into food coma, so we didn't do a live that night together. But yeah, like they're fun people. If you're going to go to Vegas, check out Turn It Up World. Tanya and Dave, I mean, they're hilarious, fun people on YouTube. They're even more fun and hilarious in real life, so it's really nice. I have not been to Brest. I've been to Minsk in Belarus, sadly. Jennifer, I would probably go with Dubai over Abu Dhabi. Let's see. Oh, Alex in Yorkshire. Where would you advise to start off for a female solo traveling trip? Europe, US, Canada, Japan, Australia. The thing is the female solo traveler stuff, the BS that women have to deal with is in every country, which is horrible. And I mean, Jocelyn has a female safety travel video. It's from a few years ago. We need to redo it. But she has a really good, just look up female safety travel, Wolters World, and there's a video on that. But, you know, when I have friends who they get worried, like, hey, my daughter is going to go backpacking. I'm like, does she make good choices? Does she know not to, like, it's not about choice. It's like, how do I explain it? There's horrible people everywhere in the world, and women have to watch out a lot more than men do, and it's horrible. But there are places I'm like, hey, you know, maybe make a little more careful here. Don't, it's, you know, it's don't, I mean, the thing I would tell anybody, you know, man or woman, it's like, look, you don't go out late at night by yourself. You don't go out at night, you know, tell people where you're going to go. Like, these same things works everywhere. Jocelyn's always like, she's like, oh, you know, have a cup of coffee. Hot coffee is a good weapon, you know, and especially when you're abroad, when they make coffee still steaming hot, you know, and she's like, yeah, Jocelyn has all this stuff like keys. I walk with my keys and my knuckles when I go places, you know, there's things to think about. And it's horrible that women have to worry about that. We have to think about safe places for women to go travel. So anyway, OG, thank you very much for the super chat. Did you feel uneasy about the hotel property's cleaning guidelines or rental car in Vegas? Should I Clorox wipe and Lysol car and room where I go there? So they are upping their cleaning stuff, but we still had our wipes and wiped down everything every day when we came in, even if they weren't cleaning the rooms every day. When I was in Vegas, you had to like say, I want to get my room cleaned. But we still wiped everything down. We got on the planes. I know they clean. Send us a message. We've cleaned the plane. They still give us a Clorox wipe when we walked in, and we wiped down our screens. We wiped down our tables and our armrests and those things. We did all that. The plug where you put your plug in, we did that. And then we went to our rooms. All handles, door handles, bathroom handles, sink handles, the remote control, the alarm, like all those things we were using the wipes on. So yeah. Tanya saw Jocelyn with Tanya on Turn Up World. So good. Yeah, they were living together. So it was fun to see them there. They were I mean, I felt bad leaving because we had such a good time with them. But let's see. Zabnek, do you think it's a good idea to take kids to Disney World now or wait until things get back to normal? I know they have a bunch of restrictions that can affect the experience. If you do decide to go, there are so many Disney bloggers out there that are going over this or that are vlogging literally daily from Disney that you could check on them because they can give you the up-to-date stuff and tell you what to do. I have friends that have been going to Disney since it reopened. So that's the thing I have. So Matthew, what's the longest flight you've ever taken so far? Mine is London Heathrow to LAX. Mine is probably LAX to Sydney. That was probably my longest one. Otherwise, maybe Minneapolis to Tokyo. What else? Yeah, I think those are the longest because I went Helsinki to Beijing, but that wasn't that bad. So Lasagna, my first solo travel trip was Toronto. Nice. Good town. Good city. I did Hawaii too. Had a blast. Awesome. Tiny asks, why is every time I go to the USA, TSA always pats me down and goes through my bags? Is it because I'm a bigger lady? Dude, if anyone can understand why TSA does what TSA does, let us know, because it doesn't make sense to me. We've had it where Liam has gotten pulled out. Like, he got pulled out and patted down and his bag searched. I'm like, and this is when he was like 3, and I'm like, okay. And we've had it where his car seat's been like confiscated for a while, and luckily we had enough time. Yeah, it was, I don't know. So Sarah asks, what will be your first international trip when you can travel again? Hopefully I'll be going to Italy for a wedding. That's number one. After that, it'll probably be Italy to apologize for not being at that wedding because I'm supposed to sign the documents. So there is that. Trieste. Trieste is a fantastic city in Italy. We have a little video on some of the tips there, but also another video on the destination location of just walking around Trieste, so you can check that out. Yeah, let's hit the road, Jack. Disney vloggers. Yes, the Daily Woo, Best Life and Beyond, Theme Park Obsession, Danny 207, Super Enthused. Yeah, thank you. Let's hit the road, Jack. There's some good ones there. Yeah, JFK sucks. Yeah. Matthew, we're going to Jamaica in April. Watch all your videos. Can't wait. Yeah, Jamaica I love Jamaica. I know people that get upset about it is because the people are like, hey, you want to buy something? Why don't you say, hey, I'm good. Thank you very much. I already got my stuff. Respect. Everyone was like, respect back, and they were cool. I talked to a lot of locals there. We had such a fantastic time. I go back to Jamaica, boom, like that. Larry, thanks for posting the COVID travel playlist. You're very welcome. Thank you for watching it. It's funny because that playlist doesn't show up a lot when people search because it's one of those pseudo restricted words, it seems like. But I thought it's too important not to have something like that. So I actually will probably put that on our main page now, like near the top, so people can have some information that way. Ronnie Dove in the house. What's up, buddy? So Ronnie Dove, don't worry. It seems I'm always getting pulled out of bags, not searched, but they use the wand. It seems like every time for the past 4 years. Ronnie's another fluffy traveler like myself, and so I do understand. Let's see. So Krista, I visited Boston in December 2020 with friends, and the locals were so happy to have some tourists. We was treated with so much hospitality. It was amazing. Couldn't believe it. Yeah, we've been treated, when we've gone places, people have been very, very happy. So Jung, I have not been to South Korea. My dad has. My dad went there so many times. He loves it. Like, loves South Korea. Like, loves South Korea. I'm like, then why don't you? That's why my mom, because he always talks so highly of South Korea. And then after we retired and told my mom that we could have gone with him to South Korea for some trips, and we were all pissed. My mom, I thought she was going to punch him. She was so mad. But my mom's not the punching kind of person. So, best destination, the South Pacific. Probably maybe Fiji. There's a lot of stuff down there. So, George Ford, is Costa Rica in April a good time? Thinking of going next year? Yeah, it's fine. When you don't want to go to Costa Rica is October. That's rainy season when it's really bad. That's when I recommend not going. Even the locals are like, we don't do anything that month. So, let's see. Right. So Tanya, yes, airfares in the U.S. are a bit cheaper, but they've come back up. I know our usual flight down to Savannah, I was looking at some flights, and the prices have gone back to pre-COVID prices for that. So it depends where you're going to go. So Maganox, hey, you think Taiwan will open up to Americans this summer? I was hoping to study abroad there. I don't know. Maybe late fall. Honestly, I don't know. Those things are it's so fluid with who can go where and when they can go. It's hard to say. Best place to visit in Eastern Europe. So Timothy, first off, you say Eastern Europe, you're going to upset some people in Central Europe. So if we go by the old Warsaw Pact, let's say that, Czech Republic, fantastic place to go. Slovenia the former Yugoslavia was not part of the Iron Curtain, but it was in that kind of gray zone. Slovenia and Croatia are great. There's some, like, Krakow and Poland is fantastic. Budapest is cool. Transylvania part of Romania is worth visiting. So that's nice. Oh, Henry Martinez. Good morning. 7:30 in the morning on a Saturday. You hard-working young man. Good morning, Mark. Did you and Jocelyn have a chance to watch any shows in Vegas? Are any of them open? Also, will you be on a lot longer? So I'm only going to be on for probably another, 15, 20 minutes, Henry. So just a little bit longer. There was no shows going on when we were there, but the shows were opening up this past weekend. Not all shows are open. There are some shows that are open with limited capacity. So if you want to see like Carrot Top, you can go see Carrot Top. But if you want to go see the Cirque du Soleil, they are not open yet. But the rumor is, we'll be the first one to open. Our buddies Turn It Up World, Tanya and Dave, they're on the ball with what's opening up. But right now, very, very few shows, if any shows, are going on. Nancy, how do you balance travel and work? I work while I travel, and I travel while I work. So it's all at the same time. Now, if I could put in like spend time with my family and do that's gonna be a little more. I gotta get some time with them. That's why I'm gonna have to sign off in a bit because Jocelyn and Caleb are gone and Liam's upstairs left to his own devices with a Switch and my phone and my TV on. So yeah, so I'll have to do that. Oh, Chris and I'd love to get back to New Orleans too. That's a place I've been going yearly. So hopefully later this year it'll be opened up and we'll go down there. Let's see. Oh, Jeff McMillan, the love couple from Ottawa just joined. Good to see you. We're only on for a little bit longer, just to let you know. Martin D. Yeah, Martin D. Met him in Vegas. Yeah, we were in the Bellagio when Jocelyn and Tanya were doing their live feed. That's right. Yeah, good to see you, Martin D. Jose Calles Alvarez, I'm from El Salvador. How's your experience there? We actually had a really good time. If you go to El Salvador, I mean, there are issues there. I'm not going to lie to you about that, but it's not as bad as it was at one time, and they're really doing a good job for tourism. It just throws off tourists when they see the people with like the machine guns at the gas stations. But we actually had a really enjoyable time when we were there. We even had a little small earthquake when we were there too. I will say, if you go to El Salvador, do not drink the water. Do not drink the water. The locals tell you don't drink the water. If you're not from there, so heads up on that one because we got that the night before we left. We got hit with that one. But the thing is El Salvador's got a lot of really cool stuff to see. I have a couple El Salvador videos already out. I still have to put out I think my shocks and don'ts of El Salvador video to give you some more stuff. But it was a good time. We ate really really well there. One of the things there. Jason, love Kansas City. NJ asks, when will the EU open up to Americans? No idea. I would hope sometime in the summer with the amount of money tourism money they're losing. I know I'm almost 100% sure they'll open up for Europeans to travel around Europe in the summer with some kind of. That's why EU ministers are talking about these COVID passports and stuff. So like the locals can go around, but we'll see what they do for other people that have the stuff. So, but I would imagine it's going to be some version of like I say, test and release. You'll test before you fly. You have to test when you arrive and prove you have negative tests and maybe a COVID vaccine, or you have to quarantine if you don't have it. I mean, it's all up in the air. So there is that. So, yeah. So I am going to sign off here. I'll answer a couple more questions. Axel, Mexico, you have a great time. You have a great time. That's all I can really say. It depends where you're going to go. It's very different places you go throughout the country. Henry asks, if you guys are unable to go to Europe this summer, is there any chance you would explore more parts of Mexico or even Northern California? So Henry, I think we might be a little bit Northern California this summer, depending if Europe is closed off for the summer, we'll throw more of North California in our Western U.S. trip. So we'll be doing that. And Mexico is definitely a place we probably will end up going to if Europe is closed off into the fall. Then Mexico will definitely be more stuff. I think you'll see more. You'll see it through the travel vloggers that are out there on YouTube. Is the places they go is where they can travel, because this is how they make their living. You know, I make my living as a professor and I do travel vlogs on the side. But people that do it as a living, they have to have new content. Like they've gone through all their back roll content because of they travel and all this kind of stuff in the COVID. Now it's like I gotta go. And now that the courts ruled that they can video in national parks, I think you're going to see a lot more national park videos from vloggers, though they're appealing the ruling, but you're going to see more of those things out there. So something to think about that. But you'll see, that's why you saw a lot of stuff from Croatia, Albania, Turkey the last few months from travel vloggers because those were open to travelers. And so you'll see. And that's why I think you'll see the Caribbean, Central and South America are opening up. Well, Central America open up for stuff. So you see more Costa Rica videos, Turks and Caicos videos. So you see things like that. Let's see. Oh, Glenn, thank you very much for the super chat. What places would you say are not your father's place in terms of improvement or in terms of being worse? Oh, ones that have gotten worse since you were there before? Chicago's not what it used to be. Still cool. That's not what I mean, it's different than when I went there as a kid. Indianapolis, but in a good way. Indianapolis has gotten way better than what it used to be. St. Louis. Kansas City is way better than it used to be. It's really good. Let's see. Vegas is better. San Francisco hasn't gotten better. There's a lot of things. I mean, I need to go there and film. But that's one. Rio's gotten less safe. So there are some things there. Chris Taylor, last question, food question. If you could have one dish from one country, deserted island situation, what would it be? It would be bigoli con arna. Bigoli noodles with duck sauce from Vicenza, Italy. Boom. That is the one I would do, and I would be happy every single day. And if you watch our What to Eat in Vicenza video, which I put out a couple weeks ago, you can see it there and enjoy it because it's fantastic. So I wish you all the best. I'm going to sign off here. Thank you, everybody, for being on. We'll be back. If you want to learn more stuff about travel, the pandemic, COVID, travel playlists down below. If you want to follow some of our other channels, Simply Jocelyn for Jocelyn stuff, just down below is the link for her channel. If you want to learn about marketing, YouTube, social media, I've got my business channel, Professor Wolters, the link down below. And Destination Location, our new channel that's not even a month old, is just it's just video of locations. There's no talking, no nothing. It's just us walking around, not us walking around, just me holding the camera, taking video of different places around the world. So I hope you will enjoy those and sign up and subscribe on those channels. I hope you have a great Saturday. Enjoy it because you know what? It's a great Saturday to be alive. Go out there, enjoy the spring weather and just enjoy. So thank you to our moderators, everybody on there. Mark Finley, thanks, buddy. All of our members on YouTube and our patrons on Patreon, thank you very much. If you want to learn how to become a patron, go to patreon.com/WoltersWorld to find out more. Links below. Or you can click the join button to find out more. So, Tanya, yeah, get to bed, Tanya. 2 o'clock in the morning, yeah. Oh, it is Saturday night, so you could still go out. Or you could still have a drink. But, get some sleep. Tom Shaner, I really like Destination Location. Thanks, Tom. Doesn't like hearing my voice, so it's a better video.